let's try this Canadian war cake. Hot. Very hot. Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Mmm! If you are a black walnut fan, you are going to love this cake. Hey y'all, welcome back to Press Play on Life. If you were with us last week, we were down in Clinton, Missouri, and we went to an antique store. We were looking for little recipe box, but we found, just like Mother made, Ozark recipes. Doesn't have a copyright date in it, but I'm assuming by the looks of it, kind of looks like 1970-ish style. But it has some really fun, really cool recipes in it. And I thought it would be fun to make this Canadian war cake. Ada Williamson shares this old recipe with us. She tells me she's made this cake for at least 35 years and it was handed down to her from her mother. It will keep moist as long as there's any of it. And it takes 2 packed cups of brown sugar, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 package of seedless raisins, 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of hot water, teaspoon of ginger, 1 teaspoon of allspice, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 cup of black walnut meats. We're going to boil the sugar, spices, water, and raisins together for 5 minutes. After it begins to bubble, when it's cold, we add flour, baking powder, which has been sifted together, turn into a well-greased tube pan, and bake for 45 minutes in a moderate oven. I think it doesn't have a whole lot to do with Canada, but a lot to do with World War I, the Great War. Or possibly World War II, when they were rationing eggs, butter, oils. So this cake doesn't have any milk, any oil, any eggs, and we're gonna try it. My dad, he loved black walnuts. I'm not much of a fan of black walnuts. This cake calls for it. We're gonna try some black walnuts. It's a black walnut and raisin cake. And of course, I don't have any brown sugar. So let's go to the store. Let's go get some brown sugar. And then we can make this cake. It's nearly 2 o'clock on the day that this video goes out. And I sure hope I can get it out to you guys on time. And I've already been here once today. Okay, that little quest took us about 10-15 minutes max. Let's get this cake baked. At least it was a gorgeous day. All right, 2 cups of brown sugar. Takes 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of allspice, 1 teaspoon of ginger, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And some raisins. 2 cups of water. Let's bring this to a rolling boil. So a quick Google search tells me that the Canada or the Canadian war cake is just a Depression era cake. It originated sometime during the Depression, and of course it didn't use any milk, any sugar, or no, it used sugar, any milk, eggs, or butter. But as the years has gone on, it's become more extravagant apparently, and people are putting everything but the kitchen sink in it. I guess I'm all over the place. You get to come to the grocery store with me. I get to go on tangents. All you Europeans seem to love raisins so much. If you look up a recipe, some kind of holiday recipe from Europe, it's gonna have a raisin in it. I don't know what your guys' fascination with raisins is I've gone on a tangent. This isn't about Europe and their love of raisins. And since I saw y'all last, I got a haircut. What do you think? Let's go. And you're along for the ride. Let's go see if our sugar and spice mixture has boiled yet. It's come to a rolling boil. We let it boil for 5 minutes. And then we let it cool. Okay, so now it's supposed to go into a tube pan. I don't know what a tube pan is. If you do, let me know in the comments below. All I can think of is like a giant pumpkin can or a giant sweet potato can, and then they bake it in that and it's round. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna put it in just a bread pan. And then you put it in a moderate oven. I don't know what moderate oven is, so I'm assuming it's 350 degrees. And you bake it for 45 minutes. I'm gonna keep an eye on it because I don't want it to burn. Okay, so I changed my mind on the 350 degree oven. It has the same consistency of my mom's or my grandma's pumpkin bread recipe, and we cooked that about at 325 degrees, so I'm gonna say that's a moderate oven. I can always cook it longer than 45 minutes if it isn't done in the middle. Okay, obviously it's not done. Let's put it back in for another 15 minutes. I don't live that far from the Ozarks. Clinton is like almost in the Ozarks, the start of the Ozarks. That's why I thought this book seemed interesting, and I just thought the artwork was cute, and it was really neat, the little stories that each person who submitted a recipe, what they had to say about their family and their recipes. Okay, let's try it again. All right, back in the oven we go. All right, this time it's done. It took me an extra 40 minutes to bake at 325. I don't know if that's the way to do it, but that's what I did. Okay, here it is. Let's try this Canadian war cake. Hot. Very hot. Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh man, it has way too many black walnuts for me. Took a whole cup of them. I should have went for English walnuts, but I was trying to go with the recipe. It's not bad. It is actually a moist cake, even though I baked it for 40 extra minutes. If everything's being rationed, this is an amazing cake. If you can't get your hands on eggs or milk or butter, perfect. I may not use black walnuts or even raisins, but if you are a black walnut fan, you are going to love this cake. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and give it a big like if you liked it. I'll see you in the next one. See y'all later.